And we're back, guys. It's been a minute since we've made a video, but of course we're here to make another Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc beat. I'm sorry, this is fun. I just got the jitters. You wanna know what I start thinking about? I start thinking about like all the other intros. What's up, guys? We're starting out the new video. This is the intro right now. You suck. As you guys know, the most interesting things Troy definitely spoke about in the last video that he put up was Roger, the new character who's in here, who we were very interested in. The character who's at the very front of the new opening that caught all of our attention. We were speculating so hard as to maybe what his goals and motives might be, what his role is in the show, and what he means to the series. And I think Roger is going to be probably the most intricate piece. Just off top, some signs that he shows, we just feel points, obviously, that he would be working with the fusion dimension. I think we all see him as a negative guy. Nothing about him really seems very noble other than that he takes his job very seriously. But we definitely think he's working for the fusion dimension, and that's for a couple of reasons. The first reason, as trivial as it might seem, is actually very indicative, we feel. And that is his outfit. If you look at the fusion dimension characters, the purple, and he has
the important characters, Leo and Yuri,
right,
wearing the purple.
Right. So you have like the most important characters wearing the purple outfits. It's like a sign of like maybe like a higher up, you know. And if you look at his outfit in comparison to Leo's outfit, they're almost completely identical. Another thing that also really caught our attention, other than just his outfit, is how he handled the Lancers when they were first engaged. If you notice, he was already interested in the fact that everyone was doing all sorts of summonings. Of course, he went to great lengths to find them out and pull them out of the commons to make sure that he got a hold of them to interrogate them. But he took special care with Serena. Initially, you would think that this would be because she's a female, and obviously in a prison facility, you're not going to have females in the same room as males. But that was not the case. She wasn't with like some other females. She was totally isolated. Anything that you keep in total isolation typically shows a high value. You know, this could be a value for fusion summoning. Maybe he knows something special about fusion summoning or wants fusion summoning for himself. Or possibly he has some connection with Leo already. He went through such great measure to make sure that Serena was in her own pocket itself, which was kind of iffy in my opinion. Also, he seems to be the main threshold of perpetuating some kind of social stratification. When they get to the executive order, when Reggie walks in and interrupts with talks of another dimension in dimensional warfare, it immediately becomes a issue much beyond the judicial branch that they had already set up, the legislature or whatever. And they dropped it, and the executive order, which seems to be some very badass tops. I mean, if you look at them, they look like they have nothing but OTK decks. Like, yes, they look pretty nasty. They will drop. You can tell that they don't really share that same anxiety, anger, this
that total hate towards
that total hatred. Right, you know, he doesn't show that total hatred toward commons that you see with all the other tops, you know, that obviously aren't as top as the executive order. Which shows that there is definitely a split onto the commons and the tops versus how the actual tops, shall I say, really view everything in general. They were very open. They wanted to know. They seemed concerned. The Friendship Cup did truly mean something to them. When they said their words, they seemed very sincere, and they gave Reggie a chance off top, which means that someone beneath them in the chain has to be perpetuating this social stratification. And I think that's where Rogers plays his role. And I think this kind of ties into the opening with the chess pieces. He seems to be the master manipulator in the Synchro dimension. He's manipulating the information that reaches the executive order and perpetuating social stratification amongst the tops and commons below him. You have to imagine if he's doing this, he has to be doing it for a goal. We think that he is already working with the fusion dimension. We're not sure if he's really from the Synchro dimension. We don't know enough about him to even say that he is from the Synchro dimension. Regardless of what dimension he's from, we definitely believe he's on the side of the fusion dimension. Whereas he may not see Serena as a high valued prize if, like I said, if he wanted fusion for himself or whatever the case may be, that could be a reason for isolating her. But more than likely, his reason is because that is considered a valuable asset for Akabaleo. I think it's a share of loyalty for power. I think the fusion dimension is going to invade the Synchro dimension at the Friendship Cup. The Friendship Cup is supposed to create this unity between between the commons and the tops. And with that being said, what a perfect time for the fusion dimension to interrupt and to intervene by causing total chaos there. You already have a social stratification amongst the people. You have the best duelists, the top-rated duelists. These people are the tops. They're there because they're successful duelists, and they're like 1%ers. They own everything, and they're few in numbers, but they're very powerful. Then you have the commons who are lesser than, they're lower than, don't have quite the dueling skill, and if the fusion dimension comes and attacks and they find a way to plant it on standard dimension, if he is really good at manipulating people, like he tries to show with his introduction of chess pieces, as Yugo is dueling on the interstate and stuff like that, if he's really that intricate, then he is going to probably set standard dimension and the commons as the issue. This would turn into total genocidal warfare, where the tops, who already feel protected by the system and already have a natural, dislike, and hate and an advantage against the commons, would feel very easy to go up against them and and say that they deserved it. And what I see happening right now is that they don't value them, so right now it's easy to take advantage of them, easy to attack them. The commons would get totally annihilated, and it would look like something very similar to what happened to the Xyz dimension. And sadly enough, that means that Reggie's goal to recruit the Synchro dimension may be totally foiled because his father had already beat him there. Roger is the master manipulator. He's keeping the executive order in the dark on the situation as to take power by storm. It's going to be like a blitzkrieg. He's just going to come in and wipe everyone out. They're going to come during the Friendship Cup, and it's going to be pretty brutal. And there's a lot of people who are playing manipulative roles, which leads me to my next topic, which is Dennis. Dennis is not some side character. Dennis is by far one of the most elusive, cunning, and devious characters in the whole series. I mean, if you neglect the couple of episodes where he dropped the ball when he drew polymerization, when he agreed that the professor's orders were number one, that they were absolute. Dennis seems to be the most loyal friend even more loyal than Shun. Seems to be more loyal to the cause than any other character in the series, other than maybe Gongenzaga. So Dennis appears at this point to be like one of the most loyal team members, but we know that he's not. We know he's going to betray. We know he's going to betray them at some point. He has to show his true colors. He has to complete his mission. The rules, it's absolute. He has no choice but to obtain Serena and Yuzu at some point. Right now, he doesn't seem to be dropping his character, and I think that reason is because he probably doesn't have the ability to find Yuzu, and knows that if he sticks around with the gang long enough, that he'll probably run into Yuzu on his own. So he's just kind of waiting around to see maybe if he can get to Yuzu. But we know for a fact that he's running out of time. I see Dennis maybe dueling Shun or maybe Gongenzaga or both. And I think that the Fusion Dimension's probably going to end up capturing Yuzu and Serena, one or the other. I just don't see Dennis failing. We don't know. We just don't know any. We don't even know enough about Dennis. I mean, when did he really first show up? Period. I mean, yeah, he hopped in to the. He hopped into the main dueling tournament when they were in the standard dimension. but he was already an LDS student prior to that. I mean, it's possible that he could predate Sora. You know, this guy has been undercover for a very long time. Like he's not a character to look over. I was talking to Troy earlier that one day, and when he was talking to was it Gon Ginzaga and somebody asked him where it was Serena. We thought he had already done duct tape took her and she was going.
When they were escaping the prison and you was like, oh, where's Serena? And he's like, she's with Crow. And we were like, oh, what if he gets back and she's not with Crow, you know?
Right. I mean, they could be going. I mean, this guy is waiting. He's waiting. And he's so friendly. He's so kind. He seems to be a fan, just like Sora. And we know he's waiting to pop off. But we know he's going to have to get it done soon.
Like dueling against Kurosaki, and Kurosaki's like, yo, you know way too much about dueling to be from LDS. What's up with you?
Right. He seems that, you know.
Shun is onto him.
Shun's onto him, definitely. But to what degree, we don't really know. And, you know, Dennis is going to be the biggest, this is going to be the sharpest knife.